Hi, this is Eric Sloof at the VMworld 2014. I'm at the Liquidware Labs stand and I'm joined by one of the co-founders, T-Rex. How are you?
Eric, I'm great. It's been a fantastic week for all of us and hopefully for the attendees as well.
So years ago you founded Liquidware Labs together with David Bieneman, and you started off with creating software to support VDI and desktops. And you created some real cool products, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're very proud of what we've created, and it's been interesting because what started as a conversation specifically around VDI has actually blossomed into a larger conversation around end user management or user environment management, both from a visibility perspective and the actual control of the workspace. And so it's fun to watch the innovations, the announcements that are happening here at the show, and we find that we play extremely well into all those avenues. So
this morning there was a big announcement regarding the cloud volumes of VMware and the support for a specific solution, and you're offering that solution. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Sure, part of the solution. So if you've been reading the blogs that Kit Colbert, End User Computing CTO, has been talking about, obviously to the customers, layering as well as user environment management are of high value. And we were very proud to be the recommended solution for user environment management. And so I think I'm actually going to show you some of the new feature sets that put us in that category.
Okay, great. Let's hop over to the laptop.
Excellent.
So T-Rex, can you show me some of those features?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talk about user environment management, some of these things are nothing new. These are things that desktop administrators, whether you're working in a physical environment or a virtual environment, have been struggling to get their hands around for a long, long time. So what I'm showing you on the screen right now is just the main configuration screen of Profile Unity. And as I start going across the screen, you'll see all these different sections that once I start talking to you about them will actually make a little bit of sense. So things like privilege elevation. For a long time, administrators have struggled with the idea that to get certain things done in a desktop environment, I've got to give everyone admin rights. That's not necessarily a great thing to be able to manage. So the privilege elevation module is where we actually take care of that. It's a brand new feature in Profile Unity 6.0 and something that we're showcasing for the first time here. You go into portability settings, this is where we start talking about what settings do I want to apply to all my user environments that transgress or make slight decisions or changes depending on if they're logging in from a VDI session, or Windows XP, or Windows 7, or Windows 8.1. Then we go into things like thin app management, and the newest feature that we're showing is trigger points. So this actually allows me to make a decision based on something happening in the environment. So is somebody moving to a different subnet? Do I want to route them to a different printer?
So it means that you can capture an event, and based on that event, you can kick something off?
Exactly. It's actually a combination of two things. So we have filter-based rule sets that you can set up. So if you're a member of the following organizational unit, or if your name starts with T, like mine does, that's considered a filter. I can take those filters and actually apply them to trigger events. So when somebody in this subnet, whose name starts with T, closes an application, do something. Write the data back, replicate it, whatever your heart desires. And so it's a really powerful new feature that we've actually been lacking, and so we're excited to bring it out in 6.0.
And how do you program your code? How do you create events? Can you script them in a certain language, or?
Well, that's part of the secret sauce, but the actual UI helps you build those rule sets right now. So I can go through some logical if-then logic. So if something happens, then do something, and that would actually be on the filter side. And I can actually stack those rule sets up, and they're almost unlimited, in terms of the decisions that I can make. I then take those filters, and then I can apply them to the triggers.
What's the use case? You say if a certain person is in a certain subnet, then you can create a trigger. Do you have some other examples?
Sure, I'm a doctor. Like I'll use Kit's example from yesterday morning in the keynote. So I'm a doctor, and I'm moving from patient room to patient room to patient room, or maybe back to my office. Each one of those events could be something I could trigger. So if I want to print out a very high resolution X-ray, I use a very high resolution printer that's maybe in my office. If I'm in a patient room and I simply want to write off some prescriptions that need to be applied to that patient, I go ahead and change printers. That's just one example of how you could use triggers and filters combined.
Especially when people are moving from one device to another, I think this is a real useful feature.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in this kind of mobile cloud era that we're all talking about, we're not tethered to one single workspace anymore. I mean, we might go through a smartphone, a tablet, a full PC, a VDI session, maybe even some published applications. And so wouldn't it be elegant, and that's what we accomplish with Profile Unity, to make decisions based on what you're actually using, what that workspace is.
Can you also avoid applications being started at a certain location, for instance? So when people are at home, they are not allowed to get access to the full client database?
Sure, so I mean, things like that fall under application restrictions, and that's one of the reasons we're excited to collaborate with Cloud Volumes, because obviously as a beautiful container in which to put applications, we're able to now apply some of that user environment management, some of that logic about what to run, what to stop, what to allow or disallow, the whitelisting and the blacklisting. So we're looking forward to collaborating with them on that technology.
Great. Many thanks, T-Rex. Great interview.
Thank you very much. Have a great show.